Hello students, in our previous class we read the first part of the chapter, The Sound of Music, and today we are going to read the second part, that is the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. Before we start the chapter, I would like to tell you something about Bismillah Khan. He is a very renowned Shehnai player in India and a legend. He is a legend because he did something that which has historical significance. He played the Shehnai on the day when India got independence, that is 15th August 1947, at the Red Fort, before the Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, gave his speech. Bismillah Khan played his Shehnai in order to signify something auspicious to the whole country, as India had got its independence. Now let's begin the chapter. But before we start the chapter, think of the Shehnai, and the first thing you probably imagine is a wedding or a similar auspicious occasion or function. The next would be probably Ustad Bismillah Khan, the Shehnai maestro, playing his instrument. That means when we hear about the Shehnai, the first thing that clinks in our mind that it is played on auspicious occasions like marriage function. And the second thing that clicks in our mind is we are reminded, the name of the Shehnai reminds us of Ustad Bismillah Khan. Same as when we mention the name of football, we remember Pele. When we mention about cricket, Sir Don Bradman or Sachin Tendulkar, so on. So when the particular word Shehnai is mentioned before us, we are immediately reminded of Ustad Bismillah Khan, or his image is formed in our mind. Before we start the chapter, I want you to show some pictures that are given in the book. Now you can see these pictures here. You can see these pictures. All these people are well-known, famous persons of India. Each one of them is a master in a particular musical instrument. Now you can see all these particular people. They are the masters of the particular instrument which they play. And this picture is of Ustad Bismillah Khan, the person about whom we are going to read in this chapter. Ustad Bismillah Khan. Now let's begin the chapter. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of a musical instrument called the pungi in the royal residence, for it had a shrill, unpleasant sound. The pungi became a generic name for reeded noise makers. So, when India was ruled by the Mughals, Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of a particular musical instrument, pungi. It was banned by Aurangzeb because it had a very shrill, unpleasant, that means rough, unpleasant sound. Pungi became a generic name for reeded noise maker. Generic means a name given to a class or a group as a whole. Name for a reeded noise maker. That means the sound was so unpleasant that nobody liked it. So it was banned by the Emperor Aurangzeb himself due to its unpleasant sound. Few had thought that it would one day be revived Revived here means back to life. When the musical instrument pungi was banned by the emperor, nobody had thought that it would be revived and a new form, a new shape, a new name would be given to it. A barber of a family of professional musicians who had access to the royal palace decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. So a barber of the family of professional musician, he decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. Here tonal means the sound. The sound for which, the unpleasant sound for which that pungi, the particular instrument, was banned by the Emperor Aurangzeb. So that barber decided to improve its tonal quality so that it could be melodious. The sound produced by that particular instrument pungi should be melodious. He chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem and was longer and broader than pungi and made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. So he chose a pipe with a natural hollow, means it was empty from inside, stem that was longer and broader than the pungi, and then it was longer and broader. You can see in the picture here, it is, you can see here the difference between pungi and the shehnai. And he also made 7 holes on the pipe. When he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, soft and melodious sound were produced. When he modified pungi and when he started playing by closing and opening the holes, a very soft and melodious sound was produced. It was comparatively very melodious, very attractive compared to the sound that was unpleasant produced by the pungi. When he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. He played the instrument before the royalty and everyone was impressed. He played the instrument before the king, before the emperor, and the sound, the melodious sound that was produced from that instrument, it was very melodious, and the people present in the court of the emperor, everybody was pleased by the sweet and melodious voice of that particular instrument. No name was given to that instrument. The instrument, so different from pungi, had to be given a new name. Now, everybody liked the tone, the sound that was produced from that particular instrument. Now, the new revised pungi had to be given a name because it was very much different from that particular pungi. It was larger, broader than pungi. So, a new name was to be given to that particular instrument. As the story goes, that means according to the story, since it was first played in the Shah's chamber, Shah means emperor's chamber, that means the king's chamber, and was played by a nai. Nai means barber. In remote areas, in villages, still in the villages of Bihar, nai means barber. So since it was first played in the Shah's chamber, court, and it was played by a nai, the instrument was named the shehnai. It was played in the Shah's chamber and it was played by a nai. So the instrument got the name shehnai. The sound of the shehnai began to be considered auspicious. Auspicious means very important, very good moment, providing to bring good fortune. The sound of the shehnai began to be considered auspicious, and for this reason, it is still played in temples and indispensable components of any North Indian wedding. Earlier, whenever we came to hear the word Shehnai, so just the thing that clicked in our mind that Shehnai is always played in marriage ceremonies. That means auspicious and also in temples. So it was played in temples and in indispensable components of any North Indian weddings. In the past, Shehnai was the part of the Naubat or traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found at the royal courts. Naubat is an Urdu word, which means traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found at the royal courts. Till recently, it was used only in temples and weddings. The credit for bringing this instrument onto classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. So earlier, this particular instrument, Shehnai, was played only on auspicious occasions at temples, in marriage ceremonies. But the credit goes to Bismillah Khan for bringing that instrument Shehnai onto the classical stage. The credit goes to Bismillah Khan, Ustad Bismillah Khan. As a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played Gilli Danda near a pond in the ancient estate of Dumrao in Bihar. So Bismillah Khan was born in the Bhojpur district of Bihar in a small town, Dumrao. He used to play Gilli Danda. I don't know whether the new generation might be knowing the game Gilli Danda, but it is played just like a similar game. You can say like a little bit, 40 to 50%. We can say it is just like cricket. So he used to, as a in his youth, in his childhood, Bismillah Khan used to play Gilli Danda. He would regularly go to the nearby Bihariji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita. So when he was in Dumrao, there is a very famous Bihariji temple, and during his childhood he used to daily go to the temple, Bihariji temple, and he used to sing Chaita in Bihar, in the district of Buxar, Bhojpur, Ara, and Sasaram, all in these places. Still today also Chaita is sung with great interest, at the end of which he would earn a big laddu weighing 1.25 kg, a prize given by the local Maharaja. So he used to sing Chaita in the Bihariji temple, and as prize he was given a laddu, a very huge laddu, which weighing 1.25 kg, and it was presented by the local Maharaja. This happened 80 years ago, and the little boy travelled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. So since at the age of 5, he started going to the Bihariji temple and started singing Chaita, and since then he had been devoted. He was very devoted, very much devoted. He worked hard, dedicated, and he had a long journey, and he reached to the utmost of success, and he was awarded with the highest civilian award of India, that is the Bharat Ratna. Born on March 21st, 1916, Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. His grandfather, Rasul Baks Khan, was the Shehnai Nawaz of Bhojpur King's Court. So, Bismillah Khan was born on 21st March 1916, and his family was dedicated to music. Even his grandfather, Rasul Baksh Khan was the Shehnai Nawaz of the Bhojpur king's court. His father, Paigambar Baksh, and other parental ancestors, father's ancestors, other parental ancestors were also great Shehnai players. So all his family members, his ancestors, they were also good players, experts in playing Shehnai. The young boy took to music early in life. That means Bismillah Khan started learning music, started learning Shehnai at a very young age. At the age of 3, when his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house in Banaras, now it is known as Varanasi, Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncle practice the Shehnai. So when he was 3 years old, his mother took him to Banaras, to his maternal grandfather's house. Bismillah Khan was very much attracted, fascinated after seeing his uncle practice the Shehnai. Soon Bismillah started accompanying his uncle Ali Baksh to the Vishnu temple of Varanasi, where Baksh was employed as to play Shehnai. So this particular paragraph describes that all Bismillah Khan's family had a musical background. He was very much attracted when he saw his uncle practicing Shehnai. He used to accompany him to the Vishnu temple of Varanasi, where his maternal uncle was employed to play the Shehnai. Ali Baksh would play the Shehnai and Bismillah Khan would sit captivated for hours on end. Captivated, that means he was very much attracted by the sweet melodious sound of Shehnai. At a very young age, he was fascinated by the sound of Shehnai. And on end, that means for a very long time without stopping, he would sit there. He would listen to the Shehnai that was being played by his uncle, captivated, on end, without stopping, continuously. He would sit there and listen to his uncle. Soon Bismillah started. Ali Baksh would play the Shehnai. Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. Slowly he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. And as his interest increased in Shehnai, he started learning it. He started practicing it. Throughout the day, he invested all his time, the whole day, in practicing, in learning to play the Shehnai. For years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangala Maiya and the banks of the Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunt, where he could practice in solitude. So, for years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangala Maiya and the banks of Ganga became the young apprentice. Apprentice means the person who is learning something. A trainer. He was undergoing training. That means he was learning to play the Shehnai. Haunt, a particular place which you would like to visit again and again. So that the Balaji temple, Mangala Maiya and the banks of Ganga, all these three places became the place of his regular haunt. He would like to visit those places and would sit there in solitude, means alone, and he would practice regularly playing the Shehnai. The flowing waters of the Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of Shehnai. So he would sit at the banks of Ganga, and what he would do? He would try to improve. Improvise means he would try to improve and invent ragas on the Shehnai. And the ragas that he invented, the ragas, the tones that he improved, before that it was very difficult to play on the Shehnai. But it was Bismillah Khan, Ustad Bismillah Khan, who made it possible to play those ragas on the Shehnai. At the age of 14, Bismillah accompanied his uncle to Allahabad music conference. At the end of the recital, that means at the end of the program. So at the age of 14, he accompanied his uncle to Allahabad in a music conference. And at the end of the recital, when the program came to an end, Ustad Fayaz Khan patted the young boy's back and said, "Work hard and you shall make it." So one of the Ustad Fayaz Khan, he spotted the talent in Bismillah Khan and patted him, appreciated his talent and told him that he should work hard and then you shall make it. That means he would become successful. He would become a maestro in Shehnai. With the opening of the All India Radio in Lucknow in 1938 came Bismillah's big break. All India Radio, a radio station in Lucknow. And the first break started by performing on the All India Radio. So when the All India Radio was opened, Bismillah Khan was given the first break. With the opening of the All India Radio in Lucknow in 1938 came Bismillah Khan's big break. He soon became an often heard Shehnai player on the radio. So often he started playing his program, the Shehnai that he used to play on India Radio. It was telecasted, and people would sit there in front of the radio, listening to the Shehnai, listening to the music, melodious, sweet, pleasant sound of the Shehnai.